from the start. And I'm talking, you're going to know after day one. Okay, so we have just finished pre-production. Now we're going to go into production. So production is the making of the movie. It's basically the fun part, the thing that everybody calls filmmaking. So let's talk about all the elements there. I'm going to highlight things that you probably might not think about that are important to think about during production. And I'm not going to highlight the obvious things like you have to light your scenes properly and you have to block your actors properly and you have to, do proper camera and lighting and sound and all this kind of stuff. That's the obvious stuff. I'm going to talk about the unobvious stuff. Number one, this is something that people don't understand until it's all over. It's called Carpe Diem, seize the day. You have probably dreamed of making a movie for your whole life. So it's going to be incredibly hectic. There's going to be tons of challenges. The days are going to be long. It's going to be a lot of frustration, aggravation. But at the end of the day, remember, this is your dream and you're living your dream. So when I say Carpe Diem, seize the day, if you're shooting for 20 days, that is going to pass like that in a flash. You're going to blink. Like after day one, you're going to think, oh, holy smokes, what I get myself into? It's such a long, difficult day, so many challenges, so many problems, so many everything. But after day 20, when it's all over and the whole thing wraps, you're going to say, what happened? Like, where did it go? I missed the whole experience. I was so worried about this and that and not sleeping and running around and doing all this kind of stuff. Take a moment every day on set just to step back and just take it in. Just say, enjoy the moment and say, here I am living my dream. Even though problems will happen and challenges will occur for sure, just enjoy it all. Enjoy the fact that you're a filmmaker making a film. This is an experience in your life that you will live forever, the rest of your life. So every once in a while, you just got to take a deep breath and just enjoy the moment. Carpe Diem. Let's talk about the director. Now, you might be the director. I'm basically talking as though I'm the producer. The producer and the director on some indie films are the same person, but often they're not. The director's main job is to artistically deliver the most beautiful and entertaining film possible. So their entire focus is going to be creative. That's their job. The producer's job is to say, how do I support the director to make the best looking film in a way that fits within our financial means, i.e. our budget? The producer's always looking at the cost, whereas the director's not. Most directors, they don't wear a watch, so they're not cognizant of the amount of time that things are taking. And often they take way too long, which means that they don't have enough time to finish shooting everything that they need to. And they're not looking at the budget. So often they're asking for things that they can't afford. And that's why indie films notoriously go over time and over budget. They take too long, they never fit within the shooting schedule, and they go over budget. So the producer's job is to make sure that doesn't happen, to make sure that they stay on time and on budget. You'll see on set almost every day, and this is usually the unit producer, like the line producer, and they're looking at the schedule and they're pacing because they're nervous. They're thinking, holy smokes, the director's not paying attention. They're not going to finish the day. It's going too slow. They're doing too many takes. The producer realizes that they're not going to finish the shooting day. So they'll go up to the director and say, hey, we have to move on. We don't have enough time to do 2 more takes on this. We have to get this setup done. We have to do a unit move, blah, blah, blah. And the director's like, don't bother me. I'm in the moment. I'm being creative. I'm getting the best film possible. And the producer's saying, yeah, I understand that, but we're not going to have enough time for you to do what you need to do. That's why it's this kind of butting heads thing, because the director doesn't want to be limited by the producer's worries about time and money, but it's a reality. The other thing is the director says, I need this, 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 and this. If you want a great shot, I need all this. Now, this should have happened in pre-production, but notoriously it happens in production, right on set. And the producer says, we can't do it. We don't have any money. And the director's, well, then I can't make the film. All of this stuff should have happened. These discussions should have happened in pre-production, but a lot of them happen right on set. So the key to having a really good shoot is that the producer, the unit producer, and the director have a really understanding relationship with each other, that they respect each other's jobs. The director respects that the producer has to push him or her to stay on time, and the producer recognizes that the director wants to be as artistic as possible. Most disasters on set happen because of that relationship, because the director just gets upset with the producer for doing their job, and then the film doesn't get finished on time or goes way over budget, and unfortunately, it creates a disaster for a stigma in the whole industry that indie films go over budget and over time. Now, there are other reasons, obviously. Things happen, equipment breaks, all this kind of stuff. But those other reasons are generally, you can solve them. So make sure, if you're a producer or director, that you sit down with each other during pre-production, you have an understanding, a mutual respect for each other, and you know exactly what to expect. So there's no surprises on set. So we talked about staying on time and on budget. That is primarily a business function, but it also really starts with the director being very well planned out in pre-production. In the notes in pre-production, I said you should definitely have a very tight shooting schedule, so you know exactly what days you're shooting what, and you have contingencies built into that in case there's weather issues or equipment issues or something like that. But the director needs to have a shot list, and they need to have timed out beforehand all of the shots and all the takes and everything so that they have their day organized. Most directors on indie films come onto the set, they just think that they're going to be able to figure it out on set, and they aren't. Even if they're a good director, experienced director, they just need to have really well thought everything out beforehand so that they follow their sort of guidelines, their shot list. The other thing is the director needs to have a really good rapport with the crew. The way you get that as a director is you let your crew know exactly what you're going to be doing beforehand so that they have a heads up as to what the day looks like, what they're going to be shooting, how many takes they want. If the director communicates with the crew and is well organized and well planned out, the crew is going to respect that a lot, and they're going to be able to work and accomplish what the director wants. Notoriously, directors come on, okay, let me think. Here, let me look at that. Well, what about this, or what about that, or maybe we should do this, or maybe we should do that. No, you can't do that. On big budget movies, maybe, I doubt it. On low budget indie films, you can't do that. There's no time. There's no resources. Yeah, you can step back, and if things go wrong and you have to rethink things, no problem. But you need to be super well organized as a director getting onto the set, and you will get way better results, both for yourself and for your crew and your actors. So generally, let's say you're going to do 3 takes of a certain scene the way you want it, right? 1 take doesn't go well, somebody forgets a line. 1 take, maybe the lighting or the sound goes off or whatever, and then the 3rd take's really good and you like it. But then maybe your actor says to you, hey, can I try something different? Those are the creative moments that create magic in movies. Directors, make sure you know exactly what you're doing, and don't think that you're going to wing it on set, because you won't. It'll be a disaster. This is the world according to Jeff Deverett. Mind you, everything that I'm talking about is the world according to Jeff Deverett. Notoriously, there's going to be relationship issues with people. Some people aren't going to get along. Some come to set, they're in a bad mood. They're tired. In every set that I've ever been on, there's always going to be 1 or 2 people who just aren't gelling with the rest. Bad apples. They're not bad people. They're just not gelling in this particular environment. They can poison the entire set. They could slow it down. They can create bad attitudes. They can just run the clock out with drama that you don't need to deal with. The quickest and easiest thing to do is just to remove the bad apples quickly, right from the start. And I'm talking, you're going to know after day 1. All right, by day 2 of a 20-day shoot, you need to deal with this stuff. You can't let this go on and on and on, because it's just not good for the shoot. So somebody, whether it be the producer or director, needs to deal with this. And they need to say to those crew, hey, you need to change, and you need to pull up your socks really quickly, because we don't have any time to deal with your baloney. Or goodbye, thanks for coming out, but we'll see you on the next shoot maybe, but you're not welcome on this shoot. I know I sound like the bad guy, right? But that's the business, okay? You have a limited time to get what you need done, all right? Just deal with it quickly and get rid of these things very quickly, because they turn into much bigger issues. All right, regarding the crew. So filmmaking is a super collaborative process. You can make a tiny little low budget film with just you and maybe somebody else or whatever. But generally you're going to have 20 to 30 people who are working on a film crew, and they need to get along together. Being a director isn't just about having an artistic vision. It's about leading people. As a director and a producer, the director-producer team, you want to think about how you're motivating your people, how you're incentivizing them. So there's little things that, you can do to have a crew gel together. Okay, the first thing I'd say is just be really professional and really organized in how you manage your jobs. Now, in addition to that, I like to have people introduce themselves. I don't like to work them crazy long hours. People think, oh, it's a film shoot, we all have to work 16 hours and get no sleep, and you have 3 more weeks to shoot. So if possible, if you can schedule your days for 10 hours or 11 at the most, when you finish shooting early, let them go early. They appreciate that. Another big thing that you want to do is feed people well. You want fresh, healthy options. You can just do local stuff. Listen, Subway, as much as that seems like a cheap, meal, is still healthy. You can get salads there. You can't do that every day, but you want to feed people well. At lunchtime, I like to make it somewhat social. You'll see cliques start to emerge where people hang out only with each other. I tend to like to do the rounds and meet people and introduce other people to other people so that it's very fun and social. Now, everybody's there to work. They're not there for a party, but it's, you're working intensely together for 4 weeks. So you want to like the people you're working with. Producers, directors, think about being leaders and providing a good environment for your cast and crew so that everybody's enjoying it. And by the way, when they are enjoying it, even though they're working really hard, you'll get a better product. People will just deliver at a higher level. And the last thing is productivity. So we just talked about if your crew and cast are happy, that you're going to get a better product. So sometimes everybody thinks, oh, we got to go, we got to push, we got to push, we got to push. This is what I find. And honestly, I've found it in every single movie I've shot so far, 7 movies. For some reason, everybody seems to get off to a slow start. So I like to keep the ball moving really quickly when we're started, because everybody thinks, oh, we have the whole day, we don't have to rush. But you kind of have to keep the pace up because you're going to run out of time at the end of the day. Then later in the morning, it picks up a little speed because everybody, is sort of in the groove. Then you stop for lunch. And of course, everybody slows down and winds down. And then you start again. And after lunch, it's the exact same thing. Everybody starts off slowly for some reason. So you want to be cognizant of that, because you'll see on indie film sets, normally you're always rushing at the end of the day to get the last shot or the last setup or something like that. And you don't need to. You just need to time it properly so that if you're going to rush after lunch. And everybody say, what's the rush? We have the whole day. You say, because I want to do maybe extra stuff afterwards. I want to have time. Or how about I want to let you go early? Keep up a good pace, catch your breath, and get back into it right away, because otherwise your productivity levels will drop and you're going to be, like I say, rushed at the end of the day to either get what you want or finish shooting the final scene. And the one thing that you want to avoid for 2 reasons is overtime. Overtime is a very bad word in indie filmmaking. But overtime means that you're going too slowly and it's going to cost you a ton of money in extra pay. Okay, because now you're paying people for hours that you didn't schedule, and you're generally paying them time and a half. And it also means that you're working them a lot harder, and now they're tired, and their actors' performances will probably start to wane a little bit. The crew will probably start to go a little more slowly. So remember, if you want good productivity, smooth out your day and keep the urgency level up the whole day, but not crazy urgent, so that you don't have to be nuts at the end of the shoot. Again, this speaks to leadership and planning, and it's important for the producer and the director to always be cognizant of that on a low budget indie shoot, because this stuff is what runs away on you and gets you into trouble.